In the 25th century, humans made contact with an extraterrestrial civilization and discovered that the bizarre traditions of its representatives were destroying millions of people.
Oh my God.
What?
It says, is anyone out there?
The action begins in the 25th century in the office of the first prefect, where he gathers his advisors and insists that tomorrow they attempt to make contact with inhabitants of other planets using a satellite network. The first message sent into space
Is anyone out there?
Meanwhile, Captain Ed Mercer and First Officer Kelly Grayson meet the new Chief of Security, Lieutenant Commander Taya Kiali, who hails from the Zalian race. She displays a stern and resolute character but assures them that, despite her less than stellar reputation, she will defend the crew from any dangers. Soon on the bridge of the U.S.S. Orville, Kelly decides to propose to the ship's second officer, Borchus of the McClan race, to throw a joint birthday party for their upcoming birthdays. Borchus reacts cautiously to the news, but Kelly tries to convince him that this means twice as many guests and twice the entertainment. However,
is this an order?
No, it's just a thought.
Then I do not wish to have a joint party.
Suddenly, Taya interrupts them and reports that she has detected signals of outdated microwaves from the distant Gamma Velorum system. She claims that the signal is not coming from a spaceship but from a planet. Taya then excitedly records the message, "Is anyone out there?" ensuring that they haven't had prior contact with this system. The crew eagerly prepares for the first contact. Helmsman Gordon Malloy engages the quantum drive, and the U.S.S. Orville sets course for the unexplored planet. After some time, Ed, Kelly, Borchus, Taya, and Dr. Claire Finn, following the coordinates received, approach the planet Regor 2. They successfully land in the capital, where they are welcomed by the first prefect and his advisors, and crowds of local residents witness this historic encounter.
On behalf of the Planetary Union, welcome to the galaxy.
The crew of the Orville informs the representatives of Regor 2 that space is populated by a vast array of peoples and beings, not all of whom are friendly. Therefore, it is crucial for them to establish the first successful contact and learn as much as possible about the life of the Regorians. First Prefect and Chief Advisor Mackle proudly show Ed, Kelly, and Borchus the largest Regorian astronomical array of 25 satellites, through which they sent the signal into space. First Prefect is amazed that their message reached the extraterrestrials so quickly, as he had presumed it would take decades or even centuries. Meanwhile, Regorian doctors give Claire and Taya a tour of the maternity ward. Taya notices that all Regorian technologies are already outdated, but Claire insists that they, from their advanced perspective, observe a young society just beginning to develop. Claire becomes concerned when she observes an unusually high number of premature births among the Regorians. Suddenly, she is interrupted by an emergency cesarean section. Using a scanner, she determines that there are no indications for the operation and questions the Regorian doctor about the reason for the urgent intervention. The Regorian doctor confidently states that the child will not be born a Gileac and wonders why Claire doesn't understand. He explains that Gileacs tend to be violent and extremely destructive, so doctors prevent their birth at any cost through cesarean section. In the evening, the crew of the Orville and the Regorians gather for a banquet to celebrate the first contact between the two civilizations. The aliens surprise the Regorians by revealing that they abandoned currency long ago, deciding that forcing people into hard labor for material goods is unnatural for their kind.
So it really is a utopia.
In addition, Taya demonstrates amazing abilities inherent to her species, effortlessly deforming a chandelier. Then, Kelly mentions that she and Borchus have birthdays next week and that meeting the Regorians is the best gift for them. But suddenly, the mood of the first prefect changes. Consumed by rage, he demands the arrest of the bewildered Kelly and Borchus and orders the rest of the crew to be checked. The first prefect cannot comprehend how such advanced humans could bring them to a government dinner, but he provides no explanation to the perplexed visitors. In a prison cell, a Regorian dentist takes tooth samples from Ed, Taya, and Claire. It is soon revealed that none of them are Gileacs. The trio is brought before the first prefect, who is outraged that they put the Regorians at risk by bringing Gileacs with them. Finally, Claire realizes that Gileac is a zodiac sign and that astrology rules on this planet. That's why they perform cesarean sections, preventing children born under this sign. An angered first prefect declares that Kelly and Borchus will be sent to a prison camp for Gileacs, while Ed, Taya, and Claire are allowed to return to their ship.
We don't want you here.
Kelly and Borchus, escorted in special suits, are brought to the camp. They are met unfriendly by the camp leader, who declares that the Gileac camp is now their new home. Kelly and Borchus demand an explanation, insisting that there must be a mistake, but their pleas fall on deaf ears because the order for their arrest came from the office of the first prefect. Attempting to break free, they attack the guards, but the guards prove stronger and threaten serious consequences for disobedience in the future. The camp leader then orders the guards to take Kelly and Borchus to the barracks. Meanwhile, Ed, Taya, and Claire return to the ship and, along with the rest of the Orville crew, contact Admiral Perry. He prohibits forcibly evacuating Kelly and Borchus during the first contact and suggests resolving the issue diplomatically. Ed tries to convince the Admiral that the inhabitants of Regor 2 are irrational and that Kelly and Borchus are being held in a prison camp simply because they were born on the wrong day. Outraged, Claire also describes the unnecessary surgeries performed to ensure that children are born under different signs. However, these arguments fail to persuade the Admiral, who states that they are on Regorian territory and must abide by their laws. The Admiral expresses a desire to free the officers from captivity but cannot allow them to storm the Regorians with force just a day after the first meeting. He urges the disappointed crew to find another way to save Kelly and Borchus and ends the conversation. Officer Isaac, a representative of a non-biological race, expresses interest in the details of astrological practices, and Claire explains that, according to astrology, a person's character, behavior, and even future are determined by the movement of celestial bodies.
That would seem scientifically unsound.
However, Isaac asserts that this explains the multitude of Regorian satellites in orbit, designed exclusively to observe the positions of stars rather than studying their physical properties. In the evening at the camp, a disheartened Borchus suggests that he wouldn't mind having a joint birthday party with Kelly now. He asks her if the Orville will come to retrieve them, but Kelly confidently states that if Ed can't negotiate with the locals, it's the end for them because she understands that force won't be used in the first contact. Borchus recalls that on his home planet Meklis, there are also those who believe that fate is determined by the position of the stars on the day of birth. So, the colleagues conclude that they only yielded to the Regorians due to the wrong zodiac sign. Meanwhile, in the prison cell, a prisoner tries to take food from a pregnant woman named Eugenia. Her husband, Regor, stands up for her, but the aggressor ignores them. Borchus intervenes, using his intimidating presence to make the man return the ration and leave the couple alone. Kelly and Borchus inquire if there's any way to escape from the prison, but Eugenia and Regor are convinced it's impossible, and no one has ever attempted it. It turns out that the Gilead Regorians sincerely believe in their negative qualities and think that by being in the camp, they are protecting society.
The stars don't lie.
After some time, the first prefect announces to his people through a live broadcast about entering the constellation of Gilead and claims that they have done everything possible to prevent anyone from being born during this period. However, since the system is not perfect, all children born during the month must be handed over to the authorities for transport to the camp. Ed returns to the first prefect, attempting to convince the ruler to release Kelly and Borchus, but he faces a resolute refusal. The captain of the Orville tries to argue that the position of a ball of gas and dust cannot influence one's character, but the first prefect remains firm. He refuses to believe that the universe is chaotic and that nothing matters, regretting that he sent the message into space. He also demands that the crew of the Orville forget about their people in Regor 2. A month later, Admiral Perry demands the ship finally leave orbit and return to duty. He assures them that an ambassador will be sent to Regor 2 to continue efforts to free their officers. Realizing they have only one day left to free Kelly and Borchus, the crew carefully studies all available information about the Regorians' astrological system. Meanwhile, the first prefect addresses the people again, stating that they are now entering the constellation of Vashanda. Regorians hold children born during this time in high regard, as they are believed to grow up to be future leaders of the planet. In the camp during lunch, Borchus and Kelly notice that Eugenia is beginning to give birth. Kelly suggests calling the doctor, but the woman doesn't want the authorities to know about her child. So, Kelly takes charge and assists in the delivery of a little girl. On the Orville, Taya comes up with an idea. She asks Isaac to show her the Gilead constellation and determine if there are any black holes in it. Taya's assumption proves correct. It turns out that 3,122 years ago, a star in Gilead collapsed, and that's when the Regor 2 astrological system was formed.
The disappearance of a star in the night sky to a civilization that young would have been a terrifying omen.
Then Claire proposes the idea of restoring the star, thereby justifying all the Gileads on the planet. In the camp, Eugenia hides her newborn daughter under the floorboards because she is a Vashanda, and the authorities will immediately take her away. Regor tries to convince his wife to give up their daughter, arguing that she will grow up in prosperity and lack nothing. However, Eugenia refuses to part with her child under any circumstances. Suddenly, the guards enter the barracks and conduct a thorough search of everyone's belongings. The overseer approaches Kelly and demands that she say she is Gilead trash. Kelly remains silent, but when the overseer puts the barrel of a gun to her face, she reluctantly complies. The guards finish the search, but Regor stops them and informs them about the baby. Ignoring Eugenia's pleas, the overseer takes the baby girl. Kelly decides to put an end to their unlawful imprisonment. She suggests that they become what the Regorians perceive them to be, scoundrels and criminals who have escaped. Chief Engineer John Lamar suggests launching a solar sail from a shuttle and positioning it so that the reflected light from the star is visible from the surface of Regor 2. For the Regorians, it will appear as if the star in Gilead has returned. John also claims that they can trick their detection system by jamming the signal, causing the scanners to confirm that the Regorians are seeing the real star.
How soon can it be deployed?
Less than 12 hours?
Do it.
Meanwhile, in the camp, Kelly and Borchus attack a guard, steal his weapons, and a firefight ensues. During the skirmish, the fugitives successfully deal with numerous guards. They manage to blow up the lock on the main gates, but then they are surrounded by other guards and the prison chief. John and Gordon report to their command from the shuttle that everything is ready for the operation and then head towards Regor 2. The overseer decides to stage a public execution of Kelly and Borchus, proving to the other inmates that the stars are never wrong and that Gileads from any part of the universe are equally cruel and irredeemable. Approaching the planet, John raises the solar sail. Adjusting its position and releasing the clamps, Gordon activates the maneuvering thrusters, effectively igniting the star. At that moment, the prison chief orders to open fire on Kelly and Borchus, who have already resigned themselves to the inevitable. However, one of the prisoners notices a new star in the Gilead constellation. Also puzzled by the sight is the first prefect, whose advisors confirm the appearance of the new star. The ruler decides to convene an emergency assembly.
What does it mean? Change.
Thanks to the resourcefulness of their colleagues, Kelly and Borchus successfully return to the Orville, where they belatedly celebrate their birthdays at a joint party. Ed tells Kelly that, according to diplomats, the last Gilead camps on Regor 2 have been closed. She also mentions receiving a message from Eukania, who named her daughter Kelly. Then Taya approaches them and wonders what will happen when the Regorians find out that the star is not real. Puzzled, Ed realizes that by deceiving an entire planet, they may not have acted entirely right from a moral standpoint. However, he believes that their lie is justified because it led to the liberation of a significant portion of Regor 2's population. Kelly is confident that by the time the Regorians uncover the deception, their technology will have advanced to the point where they won't care. Thanking Taya for the brilliant idea that saved many lives, the Orville crew continues to enjoy the celebration and rejoice in the successful outcome of their first contact with another civilization. What do you think awaits the Gileads on Regor 2 when the authorities find out that the new star doesn't exist? Share your assumptions in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.